What's up everybody, P69 1000 here. Today we're going to do a really cool video that I'm kind of hyped up about 5 vampire myths from around the world. Legends of vampires have existed for millennia, from cultures such as like Mesopotamians, the Hebrews, ancient Greeks, the Romans, you name it. Everybody throughout human history pretty much has had a story about vampires, and it's pretty fascinating. Now, you know me, I'm always open to the possibility of the existence of these creatures. So it makes me wonder, when you have stories that are so far and wide throughout time and that, vary through so many cultures, could it be possible that vampires are real? Is there a link between these stories and something real? Who knows? But it's certainly fun to think about. So without further ado, let's get into this. I'm so excited. I hope you guys enjoy this one as much as I'm going to enjoy presenting it to you. So let's get into it. Egyptians had their share of vampire lore and bloodsuckers. The Egyptian goddess Sekhmet was known for her taste for blood. And according to the Egyptian Book of the Dead, if a certain part of the soul, called the Kai, didn't receive adequate offerings, it left the tomb to drink blood. Sekhmet was known in ancient Egypt as a fierce warrior goddess, the healer, the hunter and protector of the pharaohs. According to writings, Sekhmet was said to be the daughter of Ra, the sun god and the king of the gods. An ancient legend tells of the end of Ra's rule on the earth. Ra sends Sekhmet to destroy all humans that had conspired against him. Legend states that Sekhmet's bloodlust had not been sated by the end of the battle. Her thirst drove her to nearly destroying the entirety of the human race. Ra poured out beer laced with red ochre so that it would appear as blood. Sekhmet drank the laced beer and became so drunk that she abandoned her murderous spree peacefully and returned to Ra. After this, Ra would refer to her as the one who comes in peace, naming a holiday in her honor, the Festival of Intoxication. Sekhmet would now also be known as the protector of the undead, a ruler of the underworld, and an Egyptian vampire queen. In China, vampires had long, hooked claws and red eyes. In Chinese vampire legends, they were known as the Zhangqi, which translates to corpse hopper. The Zhangqi have been traced back through Chinese history for centuries. Their legends have many similarities to the vampires from European and Western legends. The Zhangqi are a nocturnal breed that are known to have difficulties in crossing running water and can be held at bay by garlic. Known to be particularly vicious, the Zhangqi would typically rip the limbs from their victims before stealing their life force from the body. The legend of the Zhangqi varies from the legends of Western and European regions in an interesting manner. Further modes of protection from the Zhangqi include the ability to deter them with salt or even loud noises. Thunder is said to be fatal to the Zhangqi. Another way to avoid the creature is to hold your breath, as the Zhangqi is blind. It is the sound of the victim's breathing that seals their fate. The Zhangqi have ravenous sexual urges, typically drawing them to attack females. However, they could be whisked away back into their resting spot by the use of a broom. Then iron filings, rice, or red peas would be scattered on the ground above them as to provide a barrier that is impossible for them to escape. As the Jiangqi age, much as the Western and European vampire, they gain strength. If the Jiangqi ages to a point where his beard grows long and turns white, he will gain the power of flight. Some Jiangqi will gain the ability to turn into a wolf. Though the Jiangqi have mortal characteristics, they are physically different from the more typical vampire. The hopping corpse, as they are also known, has difficulty walking due to rigor mortis and the pain of death. Therefore, the Jiangqi hop with external outreached arms, eager to sink their jagged teeth and talons into their next victim. A Sumerian and Babylonian myth dating from 4000 BC describes an Ekamu, a spirit that isn't buried properly, that returns to suck life from the living. In the Mesopotamian Empire, there were creatures called the Ekamu. Ekamu means snatched away. Mesopotamians dreaded the Ekamu and prayed that they themselves were not one day turned into an angry, bitter spirit, banished to roam the earth in search of peace. The Ekamu are said to appear as a demon, phantom-like creature that searches for victims to feed its misery. The Mesopotamians also called the Ekamu evil wind gust. Now, unlike stereotypical vampires, the Ekamu does not drink blood in order to live. Instead, it feeds off the life force of plants, animals, elements, and humans by tapping into their aura. Mesopotamians believe that you could become one of these evil wind gusts by dying violently from murder, dying young, death from a battle or a war, death before finding love, an improper burial or no burial at all, dying during pregnancy, dying from drowning, dying from starvation, or an improper offering to the gods. If an Ekamu were to show up on your doorstep, it would not be a good sign. Usually, within a few days, the inhabitants of the household that the Ekamu invaded would die. An Ekamu can also make the living behave criminally or could inflict disease upon them. Legends about the Ekamu still exist today. Modern Ekamu are believed to wander the earth among the homeless, living in sewers, tunnels, and abandoned buildings. They tend to stay in run-down urban areas. During the 16th century, it was believed that vampires fed off the bodies of plague victims, and that female vampires spread the plague. Those suspected of being vampires were even buried with rocks or bricks wedged in their mouths. The Black Death was such a monumentous plague that it is by far the most fatal pandemic ever recorded in human history, causing the deaths of somewhere between 75 and 200 million people, peaking in Europe from about 1347 to 1351. Many people of the time believed the cause of the plague was indeed vampires. There were massive hunting parties that patrolled the streets at night on guard for any vampiric activity. When someone was suspected of being a vampire, they had a wooden or sometimes metal stake driven into their heart to pin them down to their coffin so that they could not rise again. A brick was also stuffed into their mouth, or the head was removed from the body with an axe and placed between the legs of the suspected vampire. The picture that you are currently seeing is the Lamachtu plaque at the Louvre Museum in Paris. A lot of time and effort went into carving this stunning scene, but I suppose parents will do anything to save their children. Made from metal and stone, it dates from the Bronze Age and depicts a terrifying tableau. A small baby lies screaming in its cradle, flanked by a man and a woman wearing armor in the shape of a fish. A row of humanoid figures are held at bay or keep guard. Each one of them has a face or mask of a wild creature. Beneath the crib, a gigantic female deity has almost broken through. Lamachtu has arisen from the depths of the ocean, brandishing 2 snakes, a piglet, and a whelp suckle from her breasts. The terrible goddess had the head of a lion, but the teeth of a donkey. Her whole body is hairy. Her long, tapering fingers end in talons, and her hands are stained with blood. Lamachtu rides through the waters of the underworld on a boat alongside her sacred donkey. She has tools and dreaded companions to enact her bidding. She wants the baby. She wishes to devour it and drink the blood of its father. If the infant wasn't already born, she would rip it from the womb of its still living mother. Only the protection of the god Pazuzu can save the family. In Babylonian mythology, Pazuzu is the lord of the demons of the winds and the son of the god Hamba. That's what this plaque is all about. It's a talisman formed in the name of that deity. Others exist very similar to it. Placing it in a nursery would keep the bloodthirsty entity from devouring the children. The same way as Hollywood movies frequently flash the cross to ward away vampires. And there is a reason for that. Lamachtu is probably the original vampire. It is widely believed that this is where the origin of vampires originate, making Lamachtu the mother of all vampires and of evil. As her story spread from culture to culture and traveled around the world, so too did the story of the blood-drinking vampires who prey on humans in the safety of the darkness. So if you wish to protect your children from Lamachtu, you had better hope that either you have this plaque in your nursery, or that Pazuzu has blessed you on that day. So that has been 5 vampire legends from around the world. After hearing about that, you might not want to go out in the dark for a while. I found it very interesting. All of the stories were fascinating. Really enjoyed the Lamachtu plaque in the Louvre Museum in Paris. Very cool. Also very creepy. A lot of work went into that plaque for sure. And it really made me think, we discover new creatures on this earth every single day. And the vampire legend, the vampire myth, has been with us for thousands of years. So who's to say there's not a realm of possibility or reality to it? Like I said, we discover new creatures every day on the earth. So let's probably not be so quick to rule out vampires as just a simple myth, because the possibility of their existence is possible. I hope you have all enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed it. And I hope to see you guys next time. So, peace, love. I love you all. Have a great day.